Discipline equals freedom? If you discipline me, how would I have freedom? I'm sure you're not the only one thinking like that. That doesn't seem right. Watch this week's episode and see how Marc was being very disciplined and yet he achieved freedom from it. And I'm not kidding. Chapter 11. The Feeling of Freedom. I thought I understood what discipline equals freedom meant when Uncle Jake taught me about it last summer. It means that in order to have freedom in life, you have to have discipline. You have to work hard. You have to do some things that you might not want to do. And I worked hard, studying and training and exercising in order to be free from bullies and from feeling dumb in class and from feeling weak. But I've been learning a lot more about the discipline of hard work this summer. Last weekend, Uncle Jake had me make up flyers for my meticulous mowing service and hand them out around the neighborhood. He also had me add another service to the flyer, pulling weeds. Now, if you've ever pulled weeds before, you know how hard it is. You are on your hands and knees, digging into the roots of weeds and pulling them out. And when a yard hasn't been taken care of, there can be millions of weeds. I told Uncle Jake I didn't want to pull weeds. He told me, I know that. Neither does anyone else. That's why you will get good money to do it. Once again, what Uncle Jake was saying made sense. Of course, no one likes pulling weeds. That's why they would pay me to do it. Well, during the week, 6 people called my house and asked for either their lawn to be mowed or weeds to be pulled, or both. When I got the messages, Uncle Jake had me call them back each day when I got home from camp and set a time during the weekend when I could come by and do the work. By the time Friday came around, I had both Saturday and Sunday filled with appointments. I figured it would take me about 1 hour per house, but Uncle Jake told me to schedule enough time for it to take 2 hours per house. So that's what I did. I figured that since I was going to be working most of the day, maybe on Saturday I could slip in. I didn't set my alarm. I figured wrong. I was lying there, dreaming about a nice cold mint chocolate chip milkshake, when suddenly my covers were ripped off me and Uncle Jake was standing above me. Good morning, sunshine. What are you doing? Why aren't you down in the garage for a workout? Well, I'm going to be working almost a whole day today, so I figured I could relax a little bit this morning. Sure, you could, if you don't mind being weak. Just because you have other things to do doesn't mean you should skip workouts. In fact, if you go through life only working out when things are perfect and you have plenty of time, then you won't work out very much at all. Even in the SEAL teams, sometimes we get really busy with training or operations. The good SEALs would still work out to make sure they're staying in shape. When you miss workouts, you can't make them up. They're gone. So why don't you get up, get down to the garage, and get after it? Okay, Uncle Jake, I'll be down in a minute, I told him. So I got up, put my workout clothes on, and headed down to the garage. Once I was down there and started exercising, I felt better and was glad I did. Afterward, it was time for me to go do my work on the lawns. First, it was the O'Toole's house. Theirs was pretty easy because the yard was small. Then it was the Kurt's house, which took longer because I had to move a bunch of lawn furniture before I started mowing the lawn, and then put it all back when I was done. The last house of the day was the Wilburys, and that one took forever. First of all, it was a big lawn. Second, they had stuff all over it that I had to move. And third, they had all kinds of weeds for me to pull. There were weeds around the driveway, around their little sidewalk, and even around the little garden they had. It took forever. I didn't get back to my house until 3:30 in the afternoon. And when I got back, I was tired and dirty and hungry and thirsty, and I felt like it had been a very, very long day. But guess what? I had $21. $21, all mine, from just one day of work. As soon as I got home, I showed Uncle Jake. He was excited too. Nice work, Mark. Or should I say magnificent? Say whatever you want. I'm happy, and I'm also tired. I'm going to go sit down and relax for a bit, I told Uncle Jake. What? Uncle Jake said in a tone that made me nervous, like he had more for me to do. I said I'm going to sit down for a bit and relax. I'm really tired. Aren't you forgetting something? I didn't know what Uncle Jake was talking about. Not that I can think of, I told him. What about your bike? He said. Oh no, I have forgotten something. I was supposed to work on my bike for at least 30 minutes every day, no matter what. But I thought today must be different since I had already worked for almost 6 hours, plus my morning workout. It had been a long day, so I figured I would just explain to Uncle Jake that I was tired and he would understand. Well, since I had been working all day, I figured maybe I could take a break from working on the bike. I should have known better. That's not how things work. That's not what warriors do. When warriors commit to a job, they do it. What you are doing, it's called procrastination. Putting things off, saying that you will do things later. That doesn't work. When a warrior has something to do, they do it, and do it right away. But I started to explain to Uncle Jake that maybe today I could just use a little break. But he wasn't being a very good listener. Don't but me. There are no buts. If you don't complete the work, then the work doesn't get done. And once you do it and it is done, you won't have to worry about it anymore. I promise that once you do the work, you will be glad you did. Now, quit debating this with me and go out and get to work. Well, when Uncle Jake says no debating, that pretty much means no debating. So I walked straight out to the garage and got to work on the bike. I focused on cleaning the rust off of the front rim. I had a little scouring pad meant for metal surfaces and the rust busting spray that Uncle Jake had given me for the rusty bolts. I scrubbed it pretty hard, and as I did, the rust came off. After the rim itself looked pretty good, I cleaned each individual spoke. It took a little longer than I thought, especially the areas where the spokes went into the rim. It was small and hard to get the scouring pad into those tight areas, but eventually I did it. And when it was all done, the front rim looked great. Sunday was almost a repeat of Saturday, except I didn't even try to get out of the morning workout or working on the bike. I just did what I knew I needed to do. I got up early, worked out, loaded my meticulous mowing gear into a bucket, pushed the mower to the houses of the Kellys, the Butlers, and the Wards, mowed their lawns, pulled their weeds, walked back to my house, went straight to the garage and started to clean and scour the bike's back rim. When I was about done, Uncle Jake came in. Look at the rims, Uncle Jake, I said as I held up one rim and pointed to the other. They look awesome. They sure do, Mark. That's great. And how much money did you make today? Another $21, I said. That's a total of $42 in one weekend. How does it all feel? Uncle Jake asked. That's kind of a silly question, I thought to myself. It felt awesome, of course. Awesome. It feels awesome. Are you sure? Am I sure? Of course I am. I have $42 and my bike rims look practically brand new. Uncle Jake stood with a big smile on his face for a minute. Then he said, I want you to remember this feeling. It's a great feeling The feeling of having worked hard and gotten something done. But sometimes we forget how good it feels, so we don't do what we should. This is the same as how discipline equals freedom. The discipline is the hard work. The freedom is the freedom to buy what you want because you have worked for the money. It is the freedom to ride a bike instead of walking. The freedom is also that feeling, that good feeling of accomplishment. It's freedom from feeling that you wasted time. Does that make sense? It does, Uncle Jake. Just like the discipline of studying and working out and training jiu-jitsu gave me freedom, the discipline of working hard for what I want also gives me freedom. And of course, the freedom feels good. That's the feeling I want you to remember. The feeling of freedom and accomplishment, especially when you have hard work ahead of you. Will you remember that feeling? Yes, Uncle Jake, I will, I told him, and I meant it. Number 1. Apart from mowing lawn, what other service does Uncle Jake suggest Marc to add to his meticulous mowing business? He added pulling weeds to the service list. Number 2. How much did Marc make in total after working in one weekend? He made $21 on Saturday and another $21 on Sunday, so in total he made $42. What adjective did Uncle Jake use to describe Marc's good work on earning his money? That's right, magnificent. Number 4. Do you remember how long should Marc work on his bike every day? Yeah, at least 30 minutes every day. Number 5. What does procrastination mean? Procrastination means putting things off. When people say they do things later instead of doing it right away. Number 6. How did Marc feel after the weekend? Marc feels awesome after the weekend because he earned $42 and his bike rim is practically brand new. So like I said at the beginning, being disciplined seems to be taking our freedom away. But look at what Marc has achieved this weekend. It's discipline that got him finished his work. And with that, he got the money he deserved. And now he has the freedom to do whatever he wants with the money. This applies to our daily life as well. Imagine if we have the discipline of exercising and working out, then we'll have the freedom from feeling weak. And if we have the discipline of eating healthily, then we'll have the freedom from feeling sick. And if we have the discipline of studying, then we'll have the freedom from feeling unaccomplished. Don't you want some of these freedom? Moving on, remember Marc has been gathering intelligence on Nathan, and seems that he knows something about Nathan that he didn't know before. What could it be? Stay tuned and I'll see you again next week on the Warrior Kid Read Aloud. Bye for now.